My name is Dennis Fig. I run the security for World Wrestling, and one of our wrestlers that lives down there is missing.
Okay, what's his name?
Chris Benoit.
Chris Benoit was considered by many of us in the business as being one of the greatest workers in wrestling.
He was nicknamed the Rabid Wolverine, the Canadian Crippler.
They tried to reach his wife, Nancy. She doesn't answer. They tried to call his house.
I plan on ruling the wrestling world.
She was in love, more in love than I'd ever seen her in my life.
This was during Chris and Nancy's wedding. Daniel was the best man, of course.
All right, we'll go ahead and send somebody out there to check on it.
Well, the wrestling world in shock today. Former champion Chris Benoit found dead in his Atlanta home along with his wife and young son. Police now treating the discovery as a double murder-suicide.
On June 25th, 2007, Chris Benoit's brutal murder of his wife and son dominated the news cycle, leaving the world searching for answers.
Going over it in my mind, like, why did this happen? How did it happen? Could it have been stopped?
Authorities say Benoit strangled his wife and suffocated his son before hanging himself in their home.
The term that's been being thrown around everywhere is roid rage.
When you look at Christopher Benoit's brain, it is in fact shocking.
For over a decade, those closest to the killings have been left traumatized and desperate for closure. For the first time, friends and family have come together to tell the story in their own words.
Chris was just this gentle giant, and I could never have imagined that he could hurt someone.
He was probably the greatest wrestler that's ever lived. And to have that same person have murdered your family, that's not an easy statement for me to make.
That's not the Chris that I knew. There's so many details that are so crazy to understand.
I need to talk about this. If you don't want to hear it, if you're going to give me shit about it later and say I'm glorifying a murder, stop listening now.
Alright, you ready?
Let's rock.
Alright, so first, can you tell us who you are?
I'm David Benoit, son of Chris Benoit. He's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, I believe. That was just his job. As soon as he got off the road, he was just dad. That was it, no matter what. My grandfather took him to his very first show in Edmonton. And then he saw the Dynamite Kid.
Against the Dynamite Kid, also 214 from Liverpool.
And then he was like, yep, that's what I want to do. My dad, he looked up to him. That was his idol. He emulated him, his work ethic, nothing like it. And then he would do his signature flying headbutt. He would climb up to the top rope, jump off spread eagle, and connect. Busted his ass in the ring every single night, gave it 120%, no matter what. I got my very first Nintendo, and I had WCW Mayhem, and I played as him.
Chris Benoit was on the radar as a pro wrestler since, gosh, the 80s. I'm Jim Ross, got in wrestling in 1974. I'm now the senior advisor to AEW. I'm a wrestling fan, so if you're a wrestling fan, how could you not be a fan of Chris Benoit's work? He's always considered one of the best workers ever, even when he's young. He was just a natural.
My name is Chris Jericho. I've been wrestling for a long time, almost 30 years. Watching Chris Benoit was one of the reasons why I really enjoyed Stampede Wrestling and why I started really thinking, maybe I can do this.
Benoit's a rookie, but he does have the moves.
To watch Stampede Wrestling, you could tell that the guys were smaller guys. They were not as tall as the giants that you could find in the WWF. I thought, wow, like they're kind of my size. So in that aspect, someone like Chris Benoit was kind of an early influence on me. The most intense and believable performer I've ever been in the ring with. He could see things that would happen before they happened. His first job was wrestling, and his last job was wrestling. All he ever did was wrestling. The only thing he ever got a paycheck from was wrestling.
I was a huge fan of Chris Benoit right off the get-go. He's the ultimate performer. Demon Malenko. I wrestled for ECW, WCW, and of course WWF/WWE. Chris was very quiet, very reserved, very serious guy, and kind of like into his own little world at times. But when that red light went on and that bell rang, Chris Benoit was a whole other person. extremely focused, probably one of the most focused individuals I've ever seen in any sport for that matter. Chris took nothing less than being perfect.
I did a few tours with Benoit over in Japan, and we had a match. I gave him a spin kick, and I didn't hit him in the head with it, nor should you. It's wrestling. You work together to put on a show. He felt like he took it the wrong way. He felt that he exposed the business with his ineptitude. Meanwhile, I bet you nobody noticed anything because a quick kick goes by, you take a bump, it's not on TV, who cares? He cared. I found him in the back doing hack squats, like Hindu squats, where you just go up and down, 1, 2. And I go, what's wrong? He's like, oh, I messed up that kick, and I have to do squats now. I'm like, why? Who told you to do squats? Like, are you in trouble? Like, no, I'm just doing them on my own. I screwed up. I'm doing 500 squats. That was him. It's like he had to purge himself and punish himself for making this minor mistake that to him was everything. And Eddie was like that too.
Wrestling fans, of course, all know who Eddie Guerrero is. To many in the wrestling world, he's considered as one of the absolute best wrestlers of all time. I'm Chavo Guerrero Jr., third-generation professional wrestler from the legendary Guerrero family. When Eddie was about 18, he started really training for wrestling, started wrestling all over Mexico, and then transitioned into Japan and became one of their top stars and was called Black Tiger.
He was this tall Mexican guy with long hair and cowboy boots and pants that were tight. And I loved his ass, and I thought he was the most gorgeous guy. My name is Vicky Guerrero. I am a former WWE superstar, and I fell in love with Eddie. He loved wrestling. He ate it. He dreamt it. He was always doing promos in the bathroom mirror. He was always showing me, hey, can I try this move on you and tell me if it hurts? Those were kind of fun days in the bed. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, those were good times.
Super nice, very friendly, would give you the shirt off his back, like literally, like you could just tell the sweetness just exuded from this guy. A little bit crazy, as any wrestler can be, especially from that generation. Very small, though. When we were in Japan, the referee, Hattori, used to call him the Mexican flamingo. Big upper body, small leg.
I think Chris and Eddie first met in Japan, if I'm not mistaken.
They would beat the shit out of each other, almost like they owed each other a lot of money.
Eddie would call me and be like, man, can't stand this asshole. Like, he's such a prick, and, I can't believe I have to work with him for the next week or two.
I think even in today's world of wrestling, every company out there, they all go back and watch those matches. Those guys were like way ahead of the time.
I really wanted to be like those guys. That's why my name was Lionheart for so long. Because I wanted to be an animal like those guys. Eddie was Black Tiger. Chris was Pegasus Kid, Wild Pegasus. Those two just saw things differently. And that was part of what made them so great.
The more they fought, I think the more that they started, respecting each other, they hit it off, and they ended up just, being the best of friends.
These particular earrings are a pair that my sister wore as woman on WCW. I decided that I would wear what she thought would look good on camera.
My name is Sandra Toffaloni, and I am the only sibling of Nancy Benoit. My sister Nancy was married right out of high school. Her first husband was a huge wrestling fan and got her to going to the matches, and she really liked it. There was a moment where, I don't know if it was a promoter or another manager that picked her out of the crowd. She's a beautiful woman. The first time it was just kind of like a weekend thing, and then it turned into something else. She met Kevin Sullivan in Florida Championship Wrestling.
Hey, let me tell you something.
He's probably one of the greatest promoters and bookers that's ever worked in wrestling.
Kevin Sullivan, who was this satanic character, and he was satanic because he shaved an X into his chest hair and put makeup on, That was about the extent of his Satanism, you know, he would wear a hood.
And they had an instant connection as friends, and then not shortly after that were falling in love. She was already in the process of divorcing her first husband. So Kevin, he had this idea in his head to grow this gimmick of he's the Prince of Darkness and he has this army of darkness behind him, and Nancy by his side as the fallen angel.
Welcome to Polynesian Pro Wrestling. I'm Angel, your co-host, and here's my master, Kevin Sullivan.
You know, Angel, you've done a fine job.
The name Fallen Angel came from the Uriah Heep album. And the cover of it had this beautiful woman in a leatherish bikini with feathers and a sword, and she looked at that cover and said, man, that's the gimmick.
She was good at what she did. Probably one of the first that really understood the art of being a valet or second, so to speak. She's an instrumental part in getting heat, as we like to say.
People would stop her, they recognized her, they believed she was possessed. She'd be getting gas and they would come over and like, we're just gonna lay hands on you and pray for your soul. And she loved it because she knew if they hate me, I'm absolutely doing my job.
She wasn't a wrestler, but she was very valuable as a ringside performer. And that's a lost art. Now, there's no such thing, right? Every girl in the business has to be a wrestler. She wasn't that, but she probably knew the business better than most.
She did Kevin's makeup, she did her own makeup, she did everything, the hair, the staging, the clothes. Guys would break their tights. Nancy would be there with thread and needle. We had duffel bags full of boa constrictors all around the house.
In the beginning, how would you describe their dynamic, like what they saw like in each other, you think?
Nancy and Kevin's?
Yeah.
Oh man. You know, he worshipped her and she was all in with him. She was in love. And their dynamic was awesome. So they moved to WCW. It was a big step up, obviously, so, from what they were doing.
WCW, where the big boys play.
Dean Malenko, Chris Benoit, and Eddie Guerrero were the three amigos. All three of them came to WCW together.
What did they call this guy up north? The Canadian Crippler? Oh my goodness! Did you see that?
Kevin was a booker at the time, booking productions, booking talent for storylines. Everyone kept talking about this really great technical wrestler that was coming out. I knew he was new to the company, and I know that my brother-in-law wanted to book him.
I just knew Nancy is the fallen angel character. Then getting to WCW, she was woman.
I am woman. So men, look at it, wish you had it, and eat your heart out.
Woman was the one character she was attached to because it was most like her actual personality.
I'm gonna watch your every move, Ric Flair. I'll see you at the Clash, big boy.
She's independent, she takes nothing from anyone, and gotta help you if you get in her way.
This one's for you. Whoa!
I know Kevin really liked Chris, really enjoyed working with him. And at that time, Kevin was booking Chris and himself into matches, and Nancy kind of became a part of it. Things were kind of happening a little weird, but nobody really knew what was going on.
Kevin Sullivan, it started out as you and I, and then you brought Nancy into it.
The joke in the business is that Kevin Sullivan booked his own divorce. It's funny to a point, then it's kind of not funny at all, because I'm certain that it was not meant to happen.
Starting in WCW, Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, who all came in together, they loved it. They were happy and they were, getting some props because even them being smaller in a sense, they were the workhorses. You could always count on them.
Benoit takes flight. He is on target with a swan dive.
So Kevin Sullivan, the booker, the story maker, writes the story and has this idea to have woman, who is Nancy, leave Kevin's side and start going with Kevin's arch rival, who is Chris Benoit.
What's it feel like
losing the most important thing that you ever had.
WCW would film vignettes with Chris and Nancy being intimate together.
I'll tell you what, it sure feels great gaining it.
What they didn't plan for is that really happened. Nancy left Kevin Sullivan to go with Chris Benoit.
Kevin was used to her always being there and kind of being his right-hand person.